Hi everyone, my name is Debra Robbins and I'm a librarian with the Volusia County Library System.
Hi, I'm Stacy Scrabus and I'm a registered dietitian and I have been for 25 years.
She's also my sister. Our presentation today covers healthy eating for kids. Please ask for a parent's help before making any of these foods, especially if you have food sensitivities or allergies. So, Stacy, I know we're talking today about healthy eating for kids. What do you think is the most important meal of the day?
I'm actually going to have to say breakfast.
Really?
And what it stands for is breaking the fast. So breakfast, breaking the fast. And the main reason why it's so important is because it really jumpstarts your day. It allows you to actually increase your metabolism. It also helps that brain start working. Sometimes it just kind of, gets a little on the slow side before we eat.
Okay. So, all right, so breakfast is a great meal for us, but are there any easy recipes for families on the go?
Lots of easy recipes.
Really?
And there's things that we can do the night before, as well as there's different recipes that we can do the day of that are super quick and super nutritious.
Can you tell us about some?
Yes.
All right.
So this one is actually called a breakfast banana split. And it includes a banana. So all you're gonna do is peel up a banana, and you're gonna place it onto a plate, and you're gonna slice it down the middle. And what we did is we actually used a plastic fork just to be on the safe side. So we're gonna slice that banana right down the middle, and we are going to add the first ingredient, which is gonna be yogurt. And I like to incorporate yogurt that's natural and doesn't have any flavors or any type of sugars, just because it's actually a healthier alternative.
Okay.
So we're just gonna scoop some plain yogurt in there.
Okay.
And for some children, they're not used to plain yogurt, and in that situation, if you can add a little bit of maybe extract or cinnamon, and that way it doesn't have kind of like that little bitter taste to it. But besides that, what we're gonna do with this banana split is we're just gonna add some berries. We have some blueberries here. You're just gonna sprinkle it down the middle. And so that way they're getting a dairy source of nutrition, they're getting a fruit source of nutrition. There goes the strawberry. And then we're gonna add a little bit of granola. When you purchase granola, you really wanna try to stick with granola that doesn't have a lot of added sugar, just because we're trying to avoid that right here. And that's why the plain yogurt is so nice, because it doesn't have that added sugar.
Okay, so that means you should look at the label carefully before you buy a granola?
Yes, it's very important, just because otherwise then you're gonna just get extra sugar, and it would be just like extra sugar that's found in cereals that we wanna try to avoid.
I got it.
And then to top this off, you can actually use some, I just kind of diced up a little bit of walnuts, and that gives it a little bit of more protein, as well as a little bit of omega-3 fatty acids. And then we have two finished products. We have this one, as well as this one. So they're both, we call them nutritious and delicious.
So they're easy and quick. You can do them in just a moment in the morning.
Yes, and with 20 to 30% of students and adolescents that do not eat breakfast, we want something that's quick and easy, and this is definitely a great example.
Oh, terrific. Do we have any more recipes?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So, are we ready for recipe number 2?
We are, and this is actually a nice mix, just because typically when people think of oatmeal, they think of hot, and they think of boring. This is a new version of oatmeal. We refer to it as overnight oats, and there's so many different recipes that you can use with overnight oats, but we thought that this one, with it being peanut butter and jelly overnight oats, would be perfect for the kids.
Oh, it sounds great. All right, can we make it?
Yes.
All right, okay, so it looks like it's only gonna take us a few minutes to make, so that's good.
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing we're gonna need are half a cup of gluten-free oats.
Okay, so if you can hand those to me,
Okay.
we'll go ahead and add them to the container.
And why gluten-free, Stacy?
Well, typically oats are naturally gluten-free, and mainly just because if someone has a sensitivity to gluten, or if they have celiac disease, they're gonna wanna stay away from gluten. Not everyone needs to stay away from gluten, because gluten's not a bad thing. It's just some people have a tendency to think that it'd be better to stay away from gluten. But oats are typically naturally gluten-free.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so our next ingredient looks like is a half a cup of milk.
Perfect.
All
And we
right.
just use a low-fat, like a 1% or 2% milk in this recipe. But for some individuals that either have a milk allergy, or they're lactose intolerant, or they actually are vegetarian and they do not want to use any type of animal products, they actually can use a milk alternative. And in that form, they can use an almond milk, a soy milk, or even a coconut milk.
Oh, they've got a lot of alternatives.
Yes.
Oh, that's terrific. Okay, our next ingredient is a tablespoon of peanut butter.
Perfect. So we're just gonna kind of dump that in there.
So I have a question too. So it
Yes.
says on the recipe here it could be either peanut butter or nut butter. What's the difference?
Oh, that's a great question. So we actually can use any form of nut butter. And that can be almond butter, it could be cashew butter, it can be soy butter. So again, for someone who has allergies to nuts, they can actually use soy in this recipe, and it's perfect and it tastes just as good.
Sounds good to me. Sounds great. Okay, the next thing is we need about a tablespoon of jelly.
There we
to
go.
with our peanut butter.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just dump that right in. And the nice thing about jelly is that you can actually buy a jelly that is we refer to it as a spread. So it's not necessarily jam or jelly, it's actually a fruit spread. And a fruit spread is actually made with natural juices. So there's no added sugar whatsoever, and it tastes very good, and it's definitely lower in calories and lower in sugar.
Okay, sounds great. So the next ingredient I see is something called chia seeds. Now, I'm not really familiar with these. What are they and why are we putting them in here?
Yeah, so chia seeds are actually really high in fiber, and they also have a little bit of omega-3 fatty acids, and they actually have a lot of research that's been done with chia seeds, and you can actually decrease your cholesterol, you can actually decrease your blood pressure, and it actually is a heart-healthy alternative.
Sounds good. Sounds like something I
Yes.
definitely want to put in my oats.
And the thing is that you don't even know they're in there, so once you try it, you're gonna say, I have no idea, I just had chia seeds.
Perfect. That sounds great. Okay, one little bit left. It looks like we need a teaspoon of cinnamon.
Perfect. And we're gonna go ahead and just grab that. We'll just kind of screw it off just to make it a little bit easier.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna sprinkle that in. And then with overnight oats, you're not cooking the oatmeal. So, you're not cooking it at all. So all you do is you do this the night before, and you're just gonna stir this all up. And we have the example that you actually are we put it in mason jars, and you can actually show the audience with that, Debbie. But the bottom line is that all of this will be absorbed overnight, and that's why it's called overnight oats. And then the next morning, you can either place it in a cup the night of, or you can actually do it in the morning. I recommend doing it the night of. It's just a little bit easier to pour into a cup. And if it's for kids, and it's maybe something that you wanted them to eat out the door when you're driving to school, I would recommend just a little plastic cup, and you could even use like maybe a plastic spoon. And they don't have to have all of it. They could actually just have, maybe a half of it. But they're getting a source of dairy, they're getting a source of grains, they're getting fiber, and it's just, super nutritious. So that is the overnight oats, and you just let it sit overnight, and it's gonna come into this consistency where you have it right now.
And it's gonna be naturally sweet because you've got all those tasty ingredients.
Yes, and it's so good. You wait till you try it.
Sounds awesome. So do we have any more recipes
We
today?
do have one more.
So Stacey, what's our third recipe?
Okay, we are doing a no-bake energy bite, and the nice thing about these is that you can actually use them in so many different varieties. So we can have them as a breakfast, we can have them as a snack, or we can even have them for in between school and maybe practice if someone is participating in sports.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what our ingredients are. Looks like a cup of rolled oats.
So we got a cup of oats.
Okay. All right, next we have a half cup of coconut flakes.
Yes, and we want to make sure that we buy the unsweetened coconut flakes. We don't want the sweetened.
Okay, no, we don't want to add any added sugars.
No.
Okay. So I see we're gonna go with peanut butter some more. My question is, what's the difference with peanut butters? What are we looking for?
Okay, well what we want to do is with peanut butter, we want to make sure that we buy it the natural form. And the main reason why is because if we buy peanut butter that's just regular peanut butter, it actually is going to contain trans fat. And trans fat actually is a form of hydrogenated oils. So when you see an ingredient maybe in a food that has hydrogenated oils or oils, that you want to stay away from them because trans fat is just like saturated fat, which is really bad for our heart. So if you buy the natural peanut butter, it's not going to have any of the hydrogenated oil or the trans fat.
Okay, all right, learned something new today. All right, so next we've got a 1/4 cup of ground flaxseed.
Yes.
All right, again, I don't know much about flaxseed. What can you tell me about it?
Yes, so flaxseed is, for one thing, no one knows that it's in there because it's kind of like hidden, especially with kids. But it also gives you a great source of fiber, a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, and it's heart healthy. So it's a good add-in for an ingredient for sure.
Okay, I got a question though. Fiber and omega-3. Again, I'm not real experienced like you are. What's
Yes.
good about having those in our foods?
So fiber is really important for a lot of things. One, this type of fiber is called soluble fiber, and it actually lowers your cholesterol. And then with the omega-3s, it's an anti-inflammatory, so we all have inflammation in our body, and the more inflammation we have, the more disease states that we are actually composed to.
Okay.
So we want to try to stay away from that.
Okay, all right, very good. Let's see what's next here. Mini chocolate chips.
Yeah, so I believe it calls for a half a cup, but in this recipe, I use a little less than a quarter of a cup, just because it's plenty, gives it a little bit of sweetness, but yet it doesn't overall cause a lot of sugar intake.
Okay, so it sounds like a little sugar's okay. We just want to monitor what we're doing with it.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, next, looks like a third of a cup of raw honey.
Yes.
Now, what's the difference between raw honey and regular?
Well, with the raw honey, well, first of all, I think the biggest question would be if we can actually have local honey. And local honey would be like within 20 to 25 miles of your location.
Okay.
And it's mainly just because it uses the pollen from local little plants and trees, and
Okay.
that way, when we eat that honey, we get exposed to that pollen, and so it actually helps with our allergies.
Oh my gosh, I had
Yeah,
no
so
idea.
when we buy honey in the grocery store, it's not local, so it's not
Okay.
gonna give us that benefit.
Okay, so local's the way to go if we can do it.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, it looks like next here, we've got a teaspoon of vanilla.
Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and add that. And then I believe we have a little bit of protein powder next.
Yes. Now, again, why do we want to add protein to the recipe?
So, the recipe by itself is actually a smaller or a very little amount of protein. Even with the peanut butter, it doesn't really give it a lot of protein. So by adding the protein powder, it just makes it a more complete little snack or breakfast.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
we're just gonna add unsweetened protein powder.
All right. And last but not least, it looks like we're going for 3 tablespoons of low-fat milk.
There we go. So we're just gonna add that.
Okay.
And then all we're gonna do is just stir it up. We can use this, but I tell you what I did is I did bring my gloves, because it does make it a little bit easier to roll them up with gloves on than by the bare hand. One, it's a lot less messy, and two, it's easier to manipulate. So I think that we're just gonna go ahead and do that now. So not everyone has gloves, I'm aware of that, but it does make it where, and the kids really love using the gloves, and then we know that their hands are clean. So,
Okay, so if they're available, use
yes,
the
and
gloves.
you can buy them in the grocery store, that's what I bought these.
Okay.
And so then we're just gonna kinda,
I gotcha. Easier to manipulate the stuff.
definitely, so much
Okay.
easier. And then the whole goal is this, we called it the protein bites, but we wanna make them in like a little ball, and you can actually show the finished product right
Okay.
there. So we're just gonna go grab just a little bit from our ingredients.
Okay, they're definitely bite-sized.
Yep, and then we're gonna go ahead and just roll them up, and we're just gonna put it right there just to show you. And that's
Okay.
it.
Now, you do this and you can eat them right away, or do you?
Right away, or you can actually put them in the refrigerator, or you can even freeze them, so they're great.
Wow.
Yes.
Very good. I just want to take a moment and thank Stacy for coming today, for sharing all these fantastic recipes.
Well, thank you.
It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, very good.
Once again, here are our Healthy Kids recipes from today. We have the breakfast banana split, the no-bake energy bites, and the peanut butter and jelly overnight oats. We will share our recipes at the end of the video. For more Healthy Kids recipes, here are a few examples from the Volusia County Public Library. We have the Jumbo Vegetarian Cookbook, written by Judy Gillies and Jennifer Glossop. Plant, Cook, Eat by Joe Archer and Caroline Craig. And Healthy Snacks by Mary C. Shue. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day. See you soon.